Hello listeners, welcome to the first episode of the Shire Knights podcast, available on Spotify. The show that lets us super nerdy grown-up shaped 40k players geek out over the competitive side of the hobby. I'm tonight's host, the Toaster Worshipper, Engine Seer of Mars, Mark Hutchin, and I'm joined tonight by more knights than your average round table can hold. Tonight, we've got our fearless team captain, 50 Shades of Grey Knights himself, Ryan Rybo Care.
Hello, hello.
We've got the mankiest Death Guard player to ever grace the 44x60-inch Nurgle Green dance floor, Alan Davidson.
Hello.
We've also got the happiest hobby room twitcher to ever grace the streams and Age of Sigmar's only supporter, Ben, token non-Scotsman, Bailey.
How's it going?
And finally, the nicest man to roam the streets of Ayrshire since Robbie Burns, Chris Jones.
Evening, chaps.
Some of them weren't expecting those nicknames, so I hope they like them.
Wonderful. Excellent work.
So tonight's podcast is brought to you by Forth Valley Wargaming. Forth Valley Wargaming is a local tabletop club based in Falkirk with all the tables, terrain and players of most systems you could want on your doorstep if you live in the central belt of Scotland. Tournaments are run throughout the year, and meeting up on a Thursday night, new members are always welcome. In today's episode, we're going to be introducing you to the podcast. Pretty straightforward stuff really, and we're going to discuss the ins and outs of the team, mainly who's in and what factions they take out to the tournaments. This is a bit of a new experience, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Don't all rush in at once. You should hear them swearing like troopers before we come on air, and as soon as you go live, everyone just hides behind the plants in the corner.
Yeah, everyone's got to hide, you know.
I'm going to sit at the back of the class.
I was kind of hoping I would be able to sit back and just listen to all you talk and then try and transcribe it so that our non-Scottish speakers will be able to understand.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. So we're going to be talking about a few things in the podcast as we move through episodes. We'll talk about Codex releases, particularly a new one that's coming up for a few of us, Tyranids. Anything exciting there, Rybo?
Nids. Yeah, big bugs, big problems.
Yeah.
Little bugs, even more big problems.
And we'll also be looking at tournaments. We've got the OPG team tournament this weekend, where we've got a few of the guys going. So we'll talk about the tournament probably after it, because we don't want to give away the game plan, do we?
Oh, definitely not. Don't want to give away all the sneaky tactics that we're going to be using and the team comp and whatnot.
Absolutely. So, first thing though, we've got a lot of people who right now have no idea who the Shire Knights are, and they've probably just subscribed because they thought it was something to do with Hobbits and Lord of the Rings. But it's not. It's 40k. So, we should probably just get into it and talk about who we've got. So, without further ado, let's look at our team roster. And I think we'll start with you, Rybo, because you're the team captain. So tell us
Sure thing.
a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Rybo. I play Grey Knights, predominantly Grey Knights. I have dabbled into Genestealer Cult this year, and I will be dabbling into Nids, as they're an old-time favourite of mine. But mainly Grey Knights. I played them at most of the major tournaments, the LGT, Nottingham, Leicester, and I've performed pretty well with them. I haven't. Still trying to recover after the nerf of losing a Dread Knight from the list, trying to find the optimal list to go with. But yeah, trying to keep the Grey Knights strong in the competitive scene.
You're a big fan of Purifiers, though, aren't you?
Oh yeah, Purifiers are amazing. Love Purifiers.
Yeah. And
Rhinos.
And Rhinos. And someone else who likes Rhinos is Alan with his Death Guard. You don't play Rhinos though. What else? What's your secret to your Death Guard success, Alan? After winning Ayrshire RTT recently.
So the secret to the success, disgustingly resilient. The -1 damage across the board is definitely a nice added bonus, as well as the Tallyman buffing 3 Volkite Contemptors. It's taken a long time to get the list working just right, but it seems to be doing work at the moment. So considering that Custodes, Tau and Harlequins are out there at the moment, it's really tough, but they seem to be doing not too bad. Papa Nurgle seems to be blessing them so far, but we'll soon see at this at the team tournament at the weekend how the list continues to perform.
Is there any armies you're looking forward to getting stuck into with your Death Guard list at the team tournament?
Well, I think I'm going to Tau, Harlequins, or Custodians. So I'm actually looking forward to getting stuck in probably all three of them.
Anything at the
as I
top
get
of the meta.
closer. Yeah, pretty much. Anything that's really challenging, I quite enjoy.
The last Ferrara the Voidweaver before the bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Chris, he thinks that he could take your Tau. That's what he's telling you.
I don't run Tau, I run Kroot, mate. That's what I do. That's a bit different here. I'm trying to be an off-meta darling. No, I suppose like after the last 18 months of Drukari, I decided, let's go for a challenge. So I chose Tau, obviously. Just trying something a wee bit different. Like obviously Farsight and Tau Sept, sort of the main flavors there. So trying something with just more Kroot, going Dalith, trying to be more maneuverable, outflanking, strategic reserve shenanigans and stuff like that. So definitely a different way to play, and you get some really strange situations where you're like, oh, I've got 2 CP, I could interrupt in the fight phase here with Tau. That's really useful now all of a sudden. So actually this afternoon was spending the afternoon going through Codex being like, there must be a way Tau can make people fight last. That must be something. And
Did you find one?
There's one relic, but it's locked to another Sept, so I can't use it, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
So I was desperate with currently running about 70 Kroot, hoping to up it to about 80 when GW have some more back in stock. We'll see where that goes. But
Tell us about Kroot Hounds, because you are a big advocate of Kroot Hounds, aren't you?
I'm a big fan of Kroot Hounds if they get the first turn, definitely. Very fast boys. They obviously get their pre-game movement, and they can, in certain missions, they're just great for, chucking onto someone's objectives. Especially, a lot of people will look at a Tau list and might think, oh, do you know what, I'm going to take Raise the Banners because there's no way they're coming up to take my home objectives. But those Hounds are bloody speedy boys. They can get right up there.
Yeah, that's good. And then we've also got Ben in the chat. Now, Ben has been exposed to 40k, is probably the only way to put it, at the team tournament with us in the ITT team tournament down in Northampton this year. But you're a big protagonist of Age of Sigmar, Ben, aren't you?
Yeah, I certainly am. I pre-COVID, I was definitely a massive advocate for 40k. I was frequent in tournaments for 40k more than I would anything else.
Yep.
But for some reason, just over the COVID period, my main interest swayed towards Age of Sigmar. And then you boys asked for some help at the team tournament, and I decided to be the punching bag. So,
well, that's not strictly true, because the punching bag was hitting back in the last game, wasn't it?
oh yeah, I had to say I had one of the most exciting experiences for 40k I think I've ever had, playing against some Aldari from what I can only describe was the most eccentric team I think we've ever played against. What was their name again?
Does anyone
Ordo
remember?
Hispanicus.
Ordo Hispanicus.
Yeah. That was it, yeah. I slept since then, to be fair. But their whole team was really fun to play against. And yeah, I was running Crusher Stampede, which I don't know if anybody's listening and sort of goes, hang on a minute, he only won one game? Yeah, that's because I played Custodes twice, and it was an awful experience. And then, what was it? Thousand Suns and a mirror match of Crusher Stampede, and whoever goes first in that pretty much wins. But yeah, the last game I managed to sweep, what was it? I think it was 100-27 or something like that. So it was a pretty solid win.
Absolutely smashed it.
It's definitely got me back thinking into 40k and how I can try and make my Marines work, because I've got 23,000 points of Space Marines. Yeah, it is a lot of Space Marines. I've pretty much got every kind of Space Marine you can consider, and it's one of the things I've seen. One of our other members, Nick, he's done really, really well with his. I'm trying to take a leaf out of his book and some inspiration to see if I can get those to a position where I can feel comfortable taking them to a tournament, and not looking for 5-0, but looking for 3-2 at a minimum, hopefully 4-1.
Brilliant. And let's talk about Nick then, because that's another member of the team, Nick Malone. He plays Salamanders, and he's played Raven Guard. But Rybo, you've probably known him the longest in 40k circles. What makes Nick so good with these Salamanders? Because he went 4-1 at London last year. So what is it that he's got going on?
It's just his lucky dice rolls, that's it. No.
He would disagree with that wholeheartedly.
No, he's really good with his salamanders. I think he's just a really good pilot of Marines. You know, he just knows the right moves to make with them and the right positioning to have, and using terrain to his advantage. And as well, the Space Marine secondary. Oh, what's the name?
Both of the moment.
Both of the moment. That's
Both
the
of them.
one. He uses that really, really well. Holding the center, for those 2 points and just maxing it.
Yeah,
He has an
definitely.
incredible understanding of the limitations of the list, which I think is one of the most important things. Is he knows where his army can start and stop, whereas I think I don't quite know that yet.
Yeah, very few mistakes, and that can just lead to winning games on its own. So it'll be good to get Nick on the podcast eventually, and we've also got Connor, who might have been with us tonight, but he's unfortunately not with us. Plays Tau. Rybo, you've known Connor for quite some time, and Chris, you are a Tau player as well, so between the two of you, I think you could both tell us a bit about his list.
Yeah, so he played 40k back in 5th edition when me and him were kids, at the store at the weekends. And then over lockdown, he started to, paint his models up again. And then he started coming to the Forth Valley Club, and he was really enjoying the games and really enjoying the competitive side of it. So it's been great to bring him into the team, get him playing games with us, and him picking up 40k in general, and the added benefit of he's playing Tau just now when it's a really good army to be playing in the meta. So it gives him... The thing about that is, though, it is Tau are incredibly strong just now, but it makes it a little bit easier. It makes it a little bit easier for him to, get into the competitive side, because he can learn more. He doesn't have to worry about mistakes per se with his army as much, because
I mean, Tau obviously, especially he's running Tau Sept at the moment, so a lot of focus on shooting. For anyone who doesn't know, they get like a free reroll hit or wound. I can't actually remember which one it is.
It's either.
Is it either? There you go. So I think a list like that, especially if you're just coming back into it, there's a lot of forgiveness in that. If you get a lot of rerolls to maximize your number of hits. And also with Tau Sept, there's quite a few ways they can do like buffs to each other, like +1 to wound and stuff like that. So I think he's got quite some interesting stuff in his list. A lot of flamers, so he's automatically hitting, and then he's getting +1 to his wound. There's ways to reroll wounds. You get that so much efficiency with so little there, sort of thing. I know Alan has loved playing against the shield runes as well.
It's been glorious.
Oh, he said that's tonight's bad word. That means you have to put a pound in the swear jar. As soon as you say drones, you've got to put a pound in the swear jar.
PTSD flashbacks for Alan.
Definitely. I can't wait till Jones got 400 points a model, guys. That is what they should say. They're stronger than Morty.
But yeah, that's the thing with Connor and him learning 40k, and because Tau, you immediately write out 2 phases of the 4 phases of the game, or
unless you're running Crute.
Yeah, that's true. Yours is different with your Crute. They love charging, but for him, it's movement and shooting. He doesn't have to worry as much about charges unless it's the enemy's charge phase. So
sounds like my AdMech. It's just so romantic. Yeah, I love it.
Brings back memories.
Brings back good memories of when we were also a bit broken and now we're not. So, but happier times. We've also got a new member of the Shire Knights. Alan recruited them only this week, was it, Alan?
It was, yeah.
So, Mikey. So, hi, Mikey, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Welcome to Shire Knights. Tell us about what Mikey's been up to, Alan.
So, Mikey has been... He's been on the scene since, I think, 8th. He may have just dabbled in it a wee bit, but he came in heavily in 9th. Started playing at a local shop with him. And he was playing at the start. He had Ultramarines, and he'd been watching videos and been trying to get stuff on them, but they weren't quite suiting his play style. So he's gone into Thousand Suns, but most recently, he's gone into custodes, and he's been finding that custodes are a lot easier for him to play as such because
They're good for any
besides-
player to pick up, really, aren't they? Because with
well,
those
yeah,
type of
yeah, at the
saves,
moment, definitely.
you can play them quite aggressively and be quite confident that you're not going to be shot off the table usually.
Yeah, well, with most people choosing Emperor's Chosen as the chosen faction at the moment, you're getting save against mortal wounds on a 4+. All of the data sheets are on a 2+ save, with most of them on a 4+ invuln. It's
There could be some nerfs
very hard
inbound,
to
though.
do. Potentially, yeah, I would definitely think so. Maybe some points increase back to what the Codex was when it first came out, as opposed to when it came out, and then they decided to give them points decreases, which was a bit unusual, but there
Yeah,
we go.
absolutely. So that's the Shire Knights. That's the collective. What would you call a collective of knights? Does anyone know? No.
Crusade, maybe?
Gaggle of Knights.
Crusade. A gaggle of
I
knights.
like
Gaggle
Knights.
Knights.
A pint
I
of
went
knights.
legit and you just trolled it. I was sure.
A Shire of Knights.
A Shire of Knights. So that is them all. It's some squad. It's looking as if it's shaping up well as well, which is really good. We're on Facebook. We've also just started this podcast on Spotify, and we'll be going to a lot of tournaments throughout the UK. We've got quite a few coming up. Alan, can you remember what all the tournaments we've got booked in for this year? I think we had a list somewhere, didn't we?
I do. So this weekend coming, we have the Stirling PG, which myself, Rybo, Nick, and Connor will be at. And then we've got the Air RTT number 2.
At Dominion.
Um,
We like the Dominion
Dominion.
guys, don't we? Chris, you're a
we
local
love
there.
the Dominion guys.
Yep, that's my local haunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the Newcastle GT coming up, and also the Leeds GT.
Have we
which
got
I
anyone
believe-
going to Leeds GT yet?
I'm off to Leeds GT. I'm
You're going to
there.
Leeds GT. Leeds,
And I'm
Leeds.
an inch away from going to Newcastle GT with you guys at this rate, I think.
Do
Well,
it.
that's exciting.
Do it.
That's exciting.
It can be a good one.
And then we have our local club, the Forth Valley Wargaming Tournament.
Rybo, do you want to do a little bit of a punt for that? Do you want to advertise it? Because you're running that.
Yeah, we've actually only got one ticket left for it. So
If you're listening, you're going to have to get on it quick.
Yeah,
That is
well,
like
there's the
a
reserve list as well because we might get some dropouts and whatnot. But yeah, Forth Valley GT, it is the last weekend in May, so that is looking at my calendar real quick. May the 28th and 29th.
Yeah.
It's a 2K point GT here in Falkirk. So yeah, if anyone's listening that does wish to go, feel free to hop on the Facebook page and message us. You can claim that last ticket.
And tell us a bit about the format for that tournament.
No Harlequins, no Custodies, and no Town.
Yeah.
But no. The format for the tournament is just 5 games, 3 games on the Saturday, 2 games on the Sunday. The terrain is all preset terrain, but there's going to be a sheet on each table to try and add keywords to certain buildings so that both sides of the terrain are equal, and it kind of makes all tables the same, even if the buildings look different and such.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then finally,
Yep, finally, the last tournament, well, not the last tournament, but another tournament that we have booked, but it's going to be the main event. It's London, baby.
London.
We are booked in. We are hopefully going to go crazy and go on the Friday, playing the doubles. On
Yeah.
the Saturday and Sunday, playing the GT. And then on the Monday, play on the cheeky RTT.
Fantastic.
You
Let's do a
guys are
segue here.
crazy.
Let's talk about doubles. Let's come up with some fantasy double sides for 40k. So, Rybo, what would be your best 40k double to pair into your Grey Knights?
With Grey Knights,
Yeah.
you could do some fun stuff with Grey Knights and the Thousand Suns.
Ooh, I like that.
Like that.
Just do lots of mortal wounds. That would be funny.
Oh,
Yeah. Does anyone else have a good one?
Yeah, Death Guard with Crusher Stampede.
Nice. How would that work?
So that was worked with PBCs at the back. Hive Guard at the back, although they're about to get nerfed, so probably not in the Hive Guard. But yeah, you could have some cheeky Dimakerons running forward.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
PBC's at the back, Dimakerons at the front.
Yep, exactly. Just the way you'd want that.
Yeah.
Genestealer Cull and just a sleigh of Medusa siege cannons.
Oh, now you're talking.
Because like
Rival
the
could just play
siege
that
cannons,
list anyway.
right? Like the siege cannons sit at the back, and the GSC just swamp the board so much your opponent can never actually get to them.
Oh, you just bubble wrap each individual Medusa so they can never be touched.
Exactly, done. Right.
Can you take Medusas as group brothers?
Yes, you can.
just a thought.
Don't give them any more thoughts.
I've already got 9. I have 9 Medusa siege cannons. Do not tempt me.
Oh.
Do they do doubles in Age of Sigmar, Ben?
They do, yeah. There's a doubles one day actually that I've literally just signed up for that I'm going for in September.
Where's that?
That is at Sanctuary Gaming Cafe, run by the Warrior Lodge down in Sutton in Ashfield. So it's all the way down my end of the wood. A mighty 15 minutes drive from my front door. So it's a really long trek for me to go and play there.
Nice.
But we're going to be taking, not that I don't suppose anybody listening here is massively interested in Age of Sigmar, but I think we're going to be taking some stupid like Archaon, which is like the big Age of Sigmar chaos dude, and some slight minions just to pad the list. And then I think I'm just going to be taking loads of gunboats from the Caradron Overlords because they're bad and it's funny.
Oh, so you do have a 40k army to back up, though. You've got your squats, you know.
Yeah, Oh, that announcement. The icon is literally the Caradron icon with a shave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the exact same, but has its little mustache shaved off. That's it.
Yeah. And how's everyone feeling about this weekend's tournament? OPG teams. So how are you feeling about it, those that are going?
I believe it's just me and Alan
Yeah.
are going to that one. But yeah, I don't think we mentioned that it was a team tournament, but yeah, it's teams of 4. We're going in. I'm feeling quite good about it. The first pairings came up, so we are against Custodes, Genestealer Cult, Necrons, and
Deathwing.
Deathwing. That was it. The Dark Angels Terminator spell.
Archangels.
Yeah.
That's
Deathwing.
not a bad first set. I expected it to be like Harlequin, Tau, Custodes, and Crusher.
We did get off light with the matchups. The first one is quite good. There is a team at the tournament that are running Crusher Stampede, Harlequins, Custodes, and Tau.
And that's not Team Scotland.
That is not Team Scotland.
No. Oh, it's going to be a good weekend. I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes. Do you think there's going to be a Shire Knights podium, though?
Well, we managed it last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
think
We
you
always
did,
hope
yeah.
for that. We always hope for that. You know that way.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
last time we
if
can try again.
team captain gets the pairings right, you know, we just go for them, you know.
It's a lot of pressure on me.
Mamba
Yeah.
does love a light board.
That is true.
Yeah, there's a story behind that saying, Mamba loves a light board. So Alan, tell us
There
about the
is.
story about why your Shire Knight's name being Mamba, loves a light board.
So we love a light board because when we went to the team tournament in Northampton, I was pulled on the light board 4 out of 5 games, and I went 5-0 at the tournament. Which
For
was
those that
great.
don't know the team tournament type stuff, a light board's just got less terrain.
Yes. Had 2 Tau players pull me on the light board, which they thought was going to benefit them. Unfortunately, just with some good rules and some really good placement and movement, it went in my favour. So that was very nice. And I also took Grey Knights and Necrons on the light table as well. The Necrons player was funny because poor wee Alberto, the funniest part at a tournament I've ever seen, when his team captain hugged him and then physically blessed him and sent him on his way.
Give him his last rites, you mean? So you
Yeah,
said
during his last one.
That was Ordo Hispanicus again.
Yes,
It was the best team that we could have played against at that whole tournament.
Yeah.
Ben had a great game against him. I had a great game against them as well. It was in your game was just hilarious. Getting the blessing before he got
Absolutely
sent to
fantastic.
his doom.
Yeah. And
Great.
I understood it once we started playing a game, 'cause it's the first time I've ever got into a turn 2 and a player just going to my command phase, movement phase, done.
Oh no!
didn't-
What?
He didn't want to come out after I destroyed. I think I took 20 Necron warriors off in the first turn, and he just was like, "That's not happening again." The out of line sight shooting shooting that I had, especially when you're on a light board, and there was just no terrain in the middle for him to be able to maneuver across after I took away all his speed movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on that, there doesn't seem to be many Necron players at the team tournament. Necrons are in a bit of an odd space right now, aren't they?
Yeah. So they've got some great play. There is one list that we'll be going up against. He's taken the Relentless Expansionist and Eternal Conquerors, which I also collect and play Necron. So I think that is one of the, apart from Novok, is probably one of the other staples to take. But yeah, they're in that awkward position where
Yeah.
there's some builds that work, but just the way the meta is at the moment, they just don't play really well into Custodes Tau with all the shooting, and Harlequins with all the manoeuvrability in the world and Void Weavers in the world.
I was going to ask Alan, because obviously they've done a lot to try and buff Necrons with data slates and points drops and stuff like that. Is it just a meta thing, or is there something else fundamental with it?
It's just the meta thing. So the fundamental thing is you want to take the Silent King in the list to buff a lot of the units, which works really well. Unfortunately, when you have the high damage output of Tau, Custodes, and Harlequins, just the sheer output and the damage with mortal wounds from Harlequins as well, that it just becomes unplayable, because you pull the Silent King out and they've got hammerheads, he's dying straight away. If they've got a storm surge, he's dying straight away. Although you can make a save, it's as soon as one goes through, you're almost taking half his wounds off, and then it goes out from there. It's quite difficult. If you get first turn though, it's a bit like orcs. They're a bit like the orcs staple at the moment. If you can get first turn and you can get on top of these opponents really quickly, because you can pre-game move 6 inches, then you can give them +1 at their movement, so they get 13, then they can charge. Once they're through that part of it, once they're on top of you and they're holding you back, they can sit and do their own thing, even with the smallest of units. So it works quite well there. But I just think the way that a lot of people probably own Tau and Custodies are so cheap to go into, I think at the moment it is just because of that.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on, guys, and have a look at, I think most podcasts, it'd be quite useful to do a little This Week in Warhammer 40k, because we get so many releases now, and it's quite nice to even just round them off by having a little chat about them. The first one, which was really worthwhile, is looking at some of the new Tyranids stuff. And in particular, there's a new model, the Parasite of Mordrex. So, Rybo, I know you've looked at Parasite of Mordrex. Do you think he's going to be on most tournament lists, or just some? What do you think?
It's still hard to say at the moment without playing actual games with it. Really, you could build an army around the Parasite. And one thing to note with the Parasite Mordrex as well is that it's not a unique character.
Wait,
you can take multiple. No, it's not
What?
a unique character. The Parasite Mordrex it's only called the lore reason why it's called the Parasite Mordrex is, the planet Mordrex was infested, and they just call that variant of bug the Parasite Mordrex.
There you go.
It's not a unique character in any way, so you can take 3 of them in a list if you wish. You're kind of setting yourself up for assassinate at that point, because you're most likely going to have multiple HQs as well. And it isn't the most durable of characters. You can Lookout Soar it, because it's it's only 6 wounds. It has a 16-inch move, which means you can fly over, And really, I think having one of them in your list to kind of hang back so that you can fly over and use its stratagem.
Its stratagem is the thing, isn't it?
Is really, because its special rule is that if it does a successful wound, it turns off objective secured. Or if you successfully infect someone with parasites, they lose objective secured. And what they do is, if when you successfully wound an opponent, they suffer one mortal wound in addition and also become infected. And then at the start of their command phase, they need to roll a dice. And if they roll a 1 to 3, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and is no longer infected. If it's a 4, 5, 6, they suffer D3 mortal wounds and continue to be infected. So there's a 50-50 chance that they continue to no longer be objective secured. Now, you could infect multiple units in a turn. I'm just trying to get the strat up.
It's called Enfolding Strike. So it's a command point.
Yeah.
And you use it in your movement phase when a parasite moves, finishes a normal move or advance. You select one enemy unit that you moved across and roll a dice. On a 2 to 5, they take D3 mortal wounds and are infected. And on a 6, they just take 3 flat mortal wounds and also become infected.
Ooh, that's good.
So yeah, realistically, what you could do is hang the parasite back, kind of in your half of the board, but just outside of your deployment. Fly over. If there's 2 units on an objective, you can fly over. Use the stratagem on one of them, remove their obsec, and then charge the other, wound them in combat, and remove their obsec. Now they are both infected, so you're doing D3 mortal wounds with the flyover, then a further D3 even if they get rid of. It's essentially a guaranteed 2d3 mortal wounds to one unit for just moving over them. Yeah. And then when you charge, and if you manage to infect them with the charge, then that's another D3 mortal wounds for that.
Now imagine throwing in 2 harpies into that mix. And you're moving harpies over with all 3 units.
Yep, that is true.
That's a lot of mortal wounds for just moving.
Yep. It's going to be a strong one.
Yeah. So in Tyranid land, they've also got obviously the Codex coming up for pre-order, which is exciting. And they talked about a few things today. One of them was the new adaptions that they've got, which is quite exciting.
They've got
Adaptive
so many different kinds of adaptions. They've got so many different kinds though, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've got ones you can do on the table, ones you can do beforehand, ones that you get just from being a certain hive fleet. It's like they're going to be front-loaded with rules. It's quite exciting.
It is. It's really good. It's a good time for anyone really to think about Tyranids because you could play really any type of army. You could do combat, psychic, shooting. You could just pick a style, or you could just do a utility army, couldn't you?
They're strong in every phase of the game. The one thing that I'm very surprised at is the amount of mortal wound output that this army can have.
Yeah,
it has crazy amounts of mortal wound input. If things like Emperor's Chosen for Custodes has been popular for a long time, which gives you the 4-up save to mortal wounds, but that meta has been slowly changing to a different shield host. Mm-hmm. We might see it sling back to Emperor's Chosen because of just Tyranids with their mortal wound output. Maleceptors with their psychic power output is a lot. You've got the Parasite, like we just said. You've got the Harpies. If you're running Crusher Stampedes, you can do a silly amount of damage on the charge. Even if you're not running Crusher Stampede, anything with the keyword for, I believe it's Chitin, Armored Chitin, mm-hmm. That does loads of mortal wounds on the charge as well.
Yeah, which Maleceptors have.
Horned Chitin. Yeah. Exactly. I'll find the stratagem just now for that, but it is quite a lot of.
Yeah, it's good. And there's wounds. These things they've called hyper adaptions as well, which are exciting. They talked a bit about Jormungandr, if that's how you say it, which certainly looks good. So it's going to be an exciting time to be a Tyranid player. I think they're going to be bugs everywhere. It's going to be like a scene from Starship Troopers.
You think we'll see, like, on the back of that, a lot of, like, I'm talking, like, loads of shots, like flamers and stuff like that come back into play?
I was just thinking that, actually, Ben, because, like, we were talking about Nick's salamanders earlier, and I'm thinking, do you know what salamanders do well? Flamers.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that, like, auto hits with long range, like, I think we're probably going to see, like, as a small counter to that, possibly something along those lines, just because the problem is that you said you can run so many different lists, but I reckon one of the most prominent lists are going to be the sheer amount of, like, the weight of bugs, so to speak. I think there's going to be two prominent ones. It's that one, and then the Crusher Stampede, as we kind of already know it.
Definitely.
But I think the flesh borers are so good.
Yeah,
they're insane.
So
They're like
good.
rifles now. Like, I was like, what happened there?
Put them on gargoyles, right? Gargoyles can fly. They can move incredibly quick with those on them as well. But my point is that is so accessible to a very, like, model count heavy army that I think multi-shots, lots of strength 5 or potentially strength 4, or even just auto hitting flamers and stuff like that are going to come back in to try and deal with some of that.
Well, another point on that, actually, about kind of off-meta choices, well, what were off-meta choices coming back into the meta, is I saw an article earlier talking about Imperial Guard being a good matchup against Harlequins just now, which is crazy to think about it, because Imperial Guard are quite underplayed, to say the least, but Hydras...
Was this not off the back of a MetaWatch article that had a picture of a Hydra or something in it?
And
like,
people were talking about it, and some people are thinking about it. So for those that don't know, a Hydra is an Imperial Guard vehicle that comes in at 110 points, and you can take them in squads of 3. So you can counter someone's 9 Void Weavers with your own 9 Hydras. They're ballistic skill 4. And their weapon is a quad autocannon, which gets +1 to hit against units with fly.
This is what we've came to. We're looking for options to counter single lists now, rather than trying to go into a tournament to look for different armies there might be. It's let's just all take Hydras. Oh no.
Yeah, it's 8 shots. It will hit on 3s. It's strength 7, so it'll wound on 3s. It's only AP -1, but Void Weavers will get a 4-up invuln anyway, and it's flat 2 damage.
I just feel though, like, so you get a Hydra that takes out 1 unit maybe of, like, Void Weavers, and then your 22-inch super fast boats with their strength 12 guns will just smack you back.
Mate, it doesn't matter if they can't move anywhere because of the sheer amount of guardsmen that are in the way.
Oh, that is true, actually.
Like numbers.
Conscripts galore again.
Mate, I don't care about your 22-inch movement if you can't move out your deployment zone because you can't land on top of me.
Yeah, there was an army of renown for conscripts, wasn't there?
Oh, it was the Canadian White Shields, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, good. So, this weekend's OPG. Hopefully we'll try and do a roundup of the OPG after it. We'll also try and do some more stuff, because there's going to be a lot of new releases and potentially a balanced data slate coming out soon as well, so we'll need to do an episode for that. We're coming up to the end of the podcast, so that's quite a short one to start, but remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to the podcast, drop us...
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 live, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots.